The fourth day of the second regular session of the 21st Congress will now come to order. May we all rise for a moment of silent prayer. Roll call. Chief Clerk.
Senator Aritos, Senator Christian, Senator Figueres, Senator Coland, Floor Leader Harper, Senator Conman, Vice Speaker Moses, Senator Ned, Senator Palik, Senator Perman, Senator Romulo, Senator Usmao, Senator Welly, Speaker Simina.
Yes.
Mrs. Speaker, all the 14 members are present.
Finally, we have a full house today. We have quorum to transact business. Next item, Floor Leader Harper.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and good morning to you and all honorable members, as well as our staff and those who are observing our session this morning. Again, I move to dispense with the reading of the journal.
It's been moved and seconded that we dispense with the reading of our journal. Those in favor of that motion say yes. Opposed, no. Motion carried. We now dispense with the reading of the journal. Next item.
Item 5, Mrs. Speaker, we're in receipt of numbers 21-93 through 21-100.
Okay, Chief Clerk, assign those communications. Next item.
Item 6, FSM Supreme Court Communications. There are none, Mrs. Speaker.
Next item.
Item 7, Member Communications, we're in receipt of 2, and their numbers 21-03 and 21-04.
Okay, assign those, Chief Clerk. Next item.
Item 8, Departmental Communications, none, Mrs. Speaker. Item 9, Agency or Governmental Authority Communications, none. Item 10, State Communications, we're in receipt of numbers 21-03 through 21-05.
Assign those, Chief Clerk. Next item.
Item 11, State Supreme Court Communications, none, Mrs. Speaker. Item 12, Municipal or Town Communications, none. And item 13, Foreign Government Communications, we're in receipt of 1, and it's number 21-16.
Assign that, Chief Clerk. Order of the day. Item 14, Standing Committee Reports.
Mrs. Speaker,
Short recess, subject to call of the chair. Congress is now back in session. Chief Clerk, we're still on the item 14.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, thank you. We have a waiting list, number 21-06.
Okay. Review that, and Chairman Cullen, you have
Speaker,
the floor.
Mr. Speaker,
Go ahead.
move to place committee report 21-09 for the order of business for today for action.
It's been moved and seconded that standing committee report number 21-09 be placed on the standing committee report calendar for action. Floor Leader Harbour.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To safeguard we're not violating any of our rules, I hereby move to suspend any relevant rules that may impede our action on the report, especially the 24 hours awaiting period. So moved.
It's been moved and seconded that the relevant rules, specifically the rules requiring awaiting 24-hour awaiting period be suspended. So those in favor of that motion say yes. Opposed, no. Motion carried. The relevant rules, specifically the rules requiring 24-hour awaiting period, are suspended. So let's vote on the motion to place. Those in favor of the motion to place standing committee report number 21-09 on the standing committee report calendar for today's action, say yes. Opposed, no. Motion carried. The motion is adopted. Standing committee report number 21-09 is now placed on the calendar for action. Motion for adoption, Chairman Cullen.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Move for adoption of committee report 21-09.
It's been moved and seconded that Congress adopt standing committee report number 21-09. Discussion. Short recess, subject to call of the chair. Congress is back in session. We're still discussing Standing Committee Report 21-09. Questions been called for. If there's no objection, discussion is closed. So let's vote. Those in favor of the adoption of Standing Committee Report 21-09 say yes. Opposed, no. Motion carried. Standing Committee Report number 21-09 is adopted by Congress. Next report. Chief Clerk?
There are none, Mr. Speaker.
Okay. I urge all chairmen to speed up your works on your standing committee reports for a budget. Okay, next item.
Item 15, special committee reports. There are none, Mr. Speaker.
Next item.
Item 16, we have an assignment of measures and communications, and it's referral sheet number 21-19.
Okay, chairman and members, review that for your planning purposes. Next item.
Item 17, unfinished business. None, Mr. Speaker.
Okay. Next item is bill calendar.
There are none, Mr. Speaker.
Short recess, subject to call of the chair. Congress is back in session. We're on the resolution calendar.
Speaker?
First resolution, Chief Clerk.
Mr. Speaker, we have Commissioner Resolution number 21-32 for adoption from your Committee on External Affairs. That resolution is attached to Standing Committee Report number 21-07.
Chairman Wale.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move for the adoption of the said resolution.
It's been moved and seconded that Congress adopt resolution number 21-32. What's the title, Chief Clerk?
Mr. Speaker, Commissioner Resolution number 21-32 is a resolution to confirm the nomination of Ms. Teresa M. Philippine to serve as the FSM Consul General in Guam, USA.
Okay, discussion on the resolution.
Speaker,
Floor Leader Harbor.
thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just want to state for the record that my delivering the nomination resolution during our last session was not because I questioned the qualification of the individual, but there were some concerns that I wanted to verify. And my being in Guam last few days, I was fortunate to talk to the individual personally, and we were kind of, ironing out certain things. And finally, she made it, what I should say, tear drops down. I felt sorry for all that she said, and as a human being with a very loving heart, I assure her that I will come back and talk to my delegation and hopefully the whole Congress to pass this nomination. So may I kindly ask that we give this lady our votes so that she can continue the honorable work that she's been doing these days. Thank you.
Thank you, Florida Harbor, for your
Second.
candid and frank statements of support. I'm sure your Pinene next to you is also talking to you. I don't know. Depends with- All right. Any other discussion on the resolution?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Okay, go ahead, Chairman Willie.
The nominee has been serving in that capacity for quite some time now, has all the experience and qualifications to serve as our Consul General in Guam. So I join floor leader in asking everybody's support for the nominee. If we don't act on this nominee this session, it would be deemed rejected. So please, let's confirm the nominee. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman Willie. For what it's worth, I was visiting our friend, the Guam government. I met with the governor, Leon Guerrero, and the speaker, and actually they sounded the same words of support for this lady. They feel that she's been doing a good job in advocating for the interests and need of the FSM. Okay, any other discussion?
Mr. Speaker,
Yes, Senator Christian.
I'm so glad that our discussions of the person for that position has involved both her qualities and her ability and the recommendations of people who worked with that person, rather than zeroing in on the fact that we oftentimes would like to make women statistics in our government. When she accepted the position, I looked at her as not a statistics for FSM to take on as, look, we've got women folks working in these positions. It was because she accepted the position as a person of quality. And so, yes, I join all of these to ask that we confirm this person for the position. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Christian. Any further discussion? If none, there is no
Mr. Speaker.
objection. Okay, Senator Palik.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I lived in Guam for 17 years, and I joined all the previous speakers to support this lady. One of the things that she's doing, and I'm really impressed, is the outreach to get information out and to interact with the leadership of Guam, and I think that's very important. Guam, as we all know, is one of our more challenging community or island where we have a huge population of FSM citizens there. So I admire what she's done, and especially the plans going forward. When Chairman Willie and I met with her in Guam, I was also impressed with some of the initiatives that she has pursued in collaboration with the leadership of Guam. And finally, recognizing, and I think she understands the importance of working with the leadership in Guam in a number of issues. But I also, when I spoke with her, one of the questions I asked her is, plan to perhaps look at commerce and trade. And we discussed that because as close as Guam is to our region, I think we should expand the relationship to also include commerce and business interaction. So I fully support this nominee. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Senator Balik. Short recess. Congress is back in session. Chairman Romero, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and good morning to you. I was debating whether to make a comment or say something, but I decided to, even though it will not look good on me, but I would say it. I fully support the nominee. I am with the other members who have spoken in support of the nominee. But I also wish to convey some of the concerns that I have and some of the citizens have shared with me. I've worked in that office for some years, and I seen the issue, the cry of the people, the needs of our citizens. Yes, I can say that we have citizens who are not doing what they're supposed to do in Guam. And we have a lot of our citizens who are very productive, contributing citizens in Guam. But at times, the staff of the office, sometimes we were embarrassed to go and deal with issues involving our citizens. But yet, as speaking of myself, yet I still have that idea that I was there to help the people. Regardless if they are doing good or bad, I will help them. Sometimes I feel like I would say, no, I don't know these people. But for what I was there for is to help them. There were some concerns in the past which our citizens have felt neglected or have felt that the office and the Consul General have neglected them.
by statement that she make in social medias with meetings of groups of people in Guam. And I wish to convey my request if she could. I know it's hard, it's a burden on her, but if she could find a ways to address these issues instead of saying, no, I wish I can say I'm not from the FSM. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your frank observations and statements, Chairman Romulo. And of course, she's rather new to the office, relatively new, and she will make mistakes along the way. But I think that's part of our job. Chairman Willie is a committee. They have oversight responsibility over the activities of those offices. And I believe that's the reason why she was asking for more support in terms of personnel, additional personnel. I would like to see that pursued further. Okay, any other discussion?
Mr. Speaker,
Yes, Chairman Christian,
Yes.
Senator Christian.
I appreciate very much the statement made by Senator Romulo, and I guess many of us have a little bit each of disappointment with not just the Guam personnel, but also personnel all over. I wish, Senator Romulo, that we would interact with this personnel directly as you did, person to person, rather than publicly chastise our employees, especially people who are confirmed by Congress in a public forum like this. I would, on my own, try my best to make sure that if I have an issue with an employee, that I do it privately with that employee. I think that the people will appreciate very much knowing what we think of their work, both in terms of their strength as well as their weaknesses, to help them improve on the job. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Senator Christian.
Mr. Speaker.
That's really, that's true. And I will give the last to Vice Speaker Moses.
I was just going to move for the previous question.
Okay, there is no objection. There is a motion to close debate. Okay, if there is no objection, debate is closed. This is a nomination, requires at least 10 votes and by secret ballot. Short recess, subject to call of the chair. Congress is back in session. Announce the results, Chief Clerk.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, 12 members voted in favor, 2 against.
For that reason, Ms. Philippine has been confirmed as the Consul General for our consulate in Guam. Let's give her a round of applause. Okay. Next resolution.
Mr. Speaker, we have Council Resolution number 21-41 for adoption. CR number 21-41 is a resolution requesting the President of the Federated States of Micronesia to establish an embassy for the Federated States of Micronesia in Geneva, Switzerland.
Okay, Chairman Mali.
So move
Any second?
for the adoption of the resolution.
It's moved and seconded that resolution number 21-41 be
Mr. Speaker,
adopted by Congress. Discussion. Senator Christian.
Mr. Speaker, because I am not a member of Foreign Affairs or External Affairs, may I know whether the issue of whether it be in Geneva or Brussels was discussed, and whether or not the question of whether we do European Union first before Australia or not, with those two questions were addressed during whatever meeting the committee had to decide on Geneva.
Chairman Mali, you have any?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I
Assistance?
think the idea is to have Geneva first before everybody else. And the request came from across, so we're just passing the resolution to support that.
Okay. So there you have it. Is that satisfactory explanation? Continue.
Mr. Speaker,
Continue.
Mr. Speaker, we talked a little bit about reciprocity of our diplomacy, in which case we mentioned that Australia has been here all this time, and so we need to reciprocate. Also on the issue of costs, people felt that Australia would be less expensive at the moment than establishing one in Geneva or Brussels. And so
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
I'm a bit lost.
Yes.
Are you finished, Senator Christian? You wait till
Okay.
don't interrupt when you want.
I'm finished because
Short
Senator
recess subject.
Rusmal interrupted me.
Short recess subject to call, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Anything else? Congress is back in session. We're still discussing Resolution 21-41. Any other discussion? If none, there's no objection. Discussion is closed. So let's vote. Those in favor of the adoption of Resolution 21-41 say yes. Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Resolution 21-41 is adopted by Congress. Next resolution.
Short recess, please.
Short recess. Subject to the call of the chair. Congress is back in session. Chairman Fakir, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move to withdraw Congress Resolution 2144 and put on the resolution calendar for action. And Congress Resolution number two, I move to place also Congress Resolution 2154 on the resolution calendar.
Second.
Speaker,
Short recess, subject to call of the chair.
may I
I
ask?
Congress is back in session. There is a motion to withdraw resolution number 21-44 and place it on the resolution calendar for action, and to place resolution number 21-54 on the resolution calendar for action. Those in favor of that motion say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Let the record reflect that all relevant rules are still suspended up to this point. So let's vote on the motion. Those in favor of the motion say yes. Opposed, no. Motion carried. Those resolutions are now withdrawn and placed. So we have first resolution, Chief Clerk.
Mr. Speaker, we have Constitutional Resolution number 21-44 for adoption. CR number 21-44 is a resolution requesting the President to adopt a code of ethics for the national government of the Federated States of Micronesia.
Chairman Romero.
Motion to defer the said resolution.
It's moved and seconded that resolution 21-44 be deferred. Those in favor say yes. Opposed, no.
No.
Motion carried. The resolution is deferred. Now, next resolution.
Mr. Speaker, we have Constitutional Resolution number 21-54 for adoption. CR number 21-54 is a resolution setting the ceiling of the total funds estimated to be available for appropriation from the General Fund of the Federated States of Micronesia for the fiscal year ending September 30, 2019.
Chairman Figuer.
Move for the adoption.
It's moved and seconded that resolution number 21-54 be adopted by Congress. Discussion? Any discussion? If none, if there's no objection, discussion is closed.
Might as well.
So let's vote. Those in favor of the adoption of resolution number 21-54 say yes. Opposed, no. Motion carried. So resolution number 21-54 is adopted by Congress. Short recess subject to call of the chair. Now that Congress is back in session.
Point of privilege.
We're still on, what's that, point of privilege? Yeah, state your point, Chairman.
Thank you, Speaker. Good morning to you, members, and all that are observing. Mr. Speaker, I have a list here of names of our citizens and also workers that is observing our session this morning. Why don't I just submit the list and we give them all a round of applause for observing our session this morning. Thank you.
Okay, the record will indicate that Chairman Perman will submit a list of names of our citizens who are being acknowledged today for their observing our session.
Mr. Speaker.
And
Point of privilege, Mr. Speaker.
go ahead, Chairman Coleman, state your point.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I wish to associate myself with Chairman Perman to ask the indulgence of this body to recognize two of our constituents who are also observing this morning session. And let me begin by introducing the Honorable Tasio Sanichi, floor leader of the Uman Municipal Government. And secondly, Mr. Dorothy Ramos, also a member of the Fifth Municipal Legislature. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Chairman Coleman. Indeed, our people, especially those traveling from our other states, are always welcome to observe our session. And it's their Congress, so feel free. Okay, any other point of privilege?
Speaker, short recess.
Short recess, subject to call of the chair. It also Congress is back in session. We're still on the resolution calendar.
Speaker,
Yes,
I move that we go back to item 18.
there's no objection. We will now go back to item 18. That's the bill calendar. Okay, Chairman Figueroa, you have the
Thank you,
floor.
Mr. Speaker. I move to withdraw and place Congress Bill number 21-64 on the bill calendar for action.
Any second? It's been moved and seconded that Congressional Bill number 21-64 be withdrawn from committees and placed on the resolution calendar for action. The relevant rules are still suspended. So let's vote. Those in favor of that motion say yes. Opposed no. Motion carried. So CP number 21-64 is now placed on the bill calendar for action. Chairman Figueroa, motion for passage.
Move that Congress pass Congress Bill number 21-64 on first reading.
It's been moved and seconded that Congress pass on first reading CP number 21-64. Read the title, Chief Clerk.
Mr. Speaker, CB number 21-64 is a bill for an act to amend sections 1, 8, and 9 of Public Law number 20-131 as amended by Public Laws numbers 20-154, 20-159, 20-172, 20-187, and 21-10 in order to appropriate $868,000 and $58 of additional funds from the General Fund of the Federated States of Micronesia for the fiscal year ending September 30, 2019, to provide additional funding for the operations of the national government of the Federated States of Micronesia, various grants, subsidies, and contributions, and capital improvement projects, and for other purposes.
Okay, Chairman Figueroa, motion.
Move for the passage of the bill on first reading.
It's been moved and seconded that Congress pass on first reading CP number 21-64. Discussion. Any discussion?
Question.
Questions being called for. If there's no objection, debate is closed. So let's vote by roll call of members. Chief Clerk?
Senator Aritos? Senator Christian? Senator Vergeer?
Yes.
Senator Coolant? Floor Leader Harper? Senator Conman? Vice Speaker Moses? Senator Nath? Senator Pollack? Senator Perman? Senator Romulo? Senator Usmal? Senator Wally? Speaker Simna?
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, 13 members voted in favor.
For that reason, CB number 21-64 has passed Congress on first reading. Next bill.
Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Senator Christian.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and members, I'd like to be excused. I have a car to catch.
Yes, you may. You may be excused. Okay, short recess, subject to call of the chair. Congress is back in session. We're still on the bill calendar. Chairman Romulo, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Motion to withdraw CP number 21-60 on today's calendar.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that bill number 21-60 be withdrawn from committee and placed on the bill calendar for action. The relevant rules are still suspended, so let's vote. Those in favor of the motion say yes. Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Bill number 21-60 is now withdrawn from committee and placed on the bill calendar for action. Okay,
Sure.
Chief Clerk, short recess, subject to call of the chair. Congress is back in session. Chief Clerk, next bill.
Mr. Speaker, we have CP number 21-60 for first reading. CP number 21-60 is a bill for an act to amend Section 3 of Public Law number 21-29 to clarify the voting for delegates and for other purposes.
Okay, Chairman Romulo, motion for passage.
Motion for passage on the said bill.
It's
First
been
reading.
moved and seconded that Congress pass on first reading CP number 21-60. Discussion. Okay, Floor Leader, you have the floor.
Speaker, I just want to ask if someone can enlighten me as to the amendments or clarification to the bill.
Okay, Chairman Romulo, you want to enlighten our colleague, Floor Leader?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The amendment is merely to clarify on the existing bill. It says one at-large you vote for one at-large and one delegate from its congressional districts. So this amendment is to merely to clarify that you vote for one at-large and two delegates from its congressional districts. Thank you.
Okay, is that clear? So that's just making sure that it's clear, it's not one, but two from each delegation district. Okay, Chairman Figueroa, you have your lights on.
Yeah, I just, I'm still not clear on, I thought the original intent is to vote at large and vote for one and let the other delegate be sat in the convention, not been elected. I thought that was the original. Now we've changed our mind.
My recollection is that Chairman Roosevelt didn't want the traditional leader as designate, and I think it was Chairman Coulon who doesn't want a lady member. I may be wrong, but that's okay.
So I agree with Chairman Golan.
That's already taken care of. It's
Oh, okay.
taken
So
out
they're
of
not.
They're not. No, we don't.
Okay.
We do
Then
not
I
have
will
those.
vote for in
Yes.
favor of the bill.
Thank you. Yes. Okay. Any further discussion?
Question.
Question has been called for. If there is no objection, discussion is closed. So let's vote by roll call of members. First reading. Chief Clerk.
Senator Aritos, Senator Christian, Senator Figueroa, Senator Goland, Floor Leader Harper, Senator Kunman, Vice Speaker Moses, Senator Nath, Senator Palik, Senator Perman, Senator Romulo, Senator Usmal, Senator Usmal, Senator Wally, Speaker Simina. Mr. Speaker, 11 members voted in favor.
For that reason, CP number 21-60 has passed Congress on first reading. Next bill.
Point of privilege.
State your point.
Speaker, I simply want to say that Chairman Fikir seems to be good at speaking my island's language.
Well, yeah, you get it. He's learning. Okay.
Speaker, I
Yes.
also follow suit with the point of privilege by the good floor leader. I always aspire to be a traditional leader. So the statement made that I didn't support the idea of having chiefs in here would contradict my wish and desire and hope. Aramas Koborobor, yeah. My hope, Koborobor, to be a traditional leader. So my wish was to reduce the number of delegates, but that didn't make it. And then to reduce especially the election district representatives, that didn't make it. Then a member was advancing the idea of knocking out the at-large members, which I also agree, but that has not made it yet. So I hope someone will offer an amendment to delete either the at-large or one of the election district rep. Thank you.
Thank you. So both of you, you and Chairman Fikir, are really learning the style of the Satawanese people. Huh? You say this and you do this.
Oh, Speaker, let
All
me
right.
clarify my position on women. I respect women, therefore I would not allow them to do any work.
Speaker, so
Okay, Chairman Fakir.
you're saying the two no votes on Teresa was these two Satawanese
Maybe, who
speaking
knows? Maybe. I'm
Are
not
we-
saying that, but I mean, any person who can
Speaker, are we in
analyze
recess?
things, we can. No, we're still in session.
We're starting.
Yes. Any other, okay.
Short
Now,
recess.
Short recess, subject to call of the chair. Congress is back in session. If there is no further bill, if no objection, we go down to item 20. Chief Clerk.
Item 20, Mr. Speaker, introduction of bills and resolutions.
If you have any measure to introduce, pass them on to Chief Clerks. Next item.
Item 21, miscellaneous communications. There are none, Mr. Speaker.
Okay. Item 22, miscellaneous business. Do you have any miscellaneous business?
Mr. Speaker.
Okay, my good Vice Speaker, Moses.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good morning to you, members, and those who are observing our session today. I just wanted to state on the record our actions to defer Congressional Resolution 21-44. Some years back, I had the opportunity of participating in the third FSM Constitutional Convention. And I learned then that the FSM government does not have a code of ethics. And what we learned and we brought in as a possible model was the code of ethics for the Pohnpei state government. So the state of Pohnpei has a code of ethics. I am not aware if the other states do, and I hope they do. And it was sort of probably an unpopular topic to discuss during that time, and apparently it's still an unpopular item to discuss, as we've seen the actions that we took on the Congressional Resolution number 21-44. I was hoping that the resolution would help jumpstart conversations within the national government, both the executive and the legislative branch, to come up with some sort of code of ethics for us. I think we owe it to the people to have one in place. I was listening earlier that we did have one that was passed in the, I guess, Senator or Chairman Figueroa alluded to the Fourth Congress. There was one in place. However, back in 2001, when we had the Constitutional Convention, it was made known by our legal staff of the convention that the FSM government did not have one. So I was just hoping that we took action today. However, the action that we took was to defer the resolution. And it was due to a report that should come out of the Committee on Jay and Go. However, we've passed two resolutions recently, major resolutions on asking the President to open two embassies, and no reports were made with those two resolutions, and both were passed. And if those materialize, it's going to be a major it's going to have a major effect on our budget and other operational restructurings. So I was just, wanting to put on the record that I really hope we pass that resolution today. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Vice Speaker Moses. Yes, indeed, it's prerogative of Congress what they do, but be patient. We'll have something. Okay.
Speaker.
Any other miscellaneous business?
Thank you,
Okay,
Speaker, if I may.
Chairman Ursumal.
Yeah, I wish to indicate for the record that I do support, if there is no code of ethics for the national government, there should be one. And I would even dare any one of us, including our staff, to draft a bill to put that into writings, so that the executive branch and the legislative branch, in reviewing of the bill, can come to an agreement as to what the bill and what the code of ethics should look like. We can circumvent the need of, short-circuit the need for the resolution by introducing a bill to that effect. So true that the two resolutions adopted with no report, as I had indicated on many occasions, I hope that we would require on major issues to have report attached to resolutions and bills. On the deferment of that resolution, I don't know how JNGO is going to do the report when the resolution is already floating around in this chamber. It's no longer JNGO's business, it's the Congress business. So unless the resolution is whatever the right motion is, given back to the committee, they cannot do a report on it because it's already on the floor and is a business of this whole body. So please, if there is a need, and I think there is a need to come up with a code of ethics, I wish I can do it. And I wish one of the legal staff would advise as to how we can go about doing it in a bill that we can review with the executive branch and put it into before the CONCON, so they don't do anything for us. For Congress. It's not them, it should be us. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Chairman
Speaker.
Ursumal. Do you have miscellaneous business other than, because I've already told Vice Speaker Morris to be patient. We will have something on those things, but do you have anything else other than this?
I was just going to make a statement in regards to what Chairman Ursumal have.
Chairman Romulo, are you going to really oppose what Chairman Ursumal just said?
No, I was just going to make to clarify that the deferment of that resolution, I don't want both parties to argue, and I want them to iron out their differences, their misunderstanding, and then we'll move on with the resolution. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman Romulo. As I mentioned, and as pointed out by Chairman Ursumal, and he's correct, that motion to defer, the resolution is floating around, and it's up to the chair to decide what to do with it. So that's why I asked Vice Speaker Moses to be patient a little. We'll see what we can do on that. Okay. Any other miscellaneous business, Chairman Figueroa?
Announcement.
Okay, we're going down to that. If there's no further business, miscellaneous business, let's go to announcement, but we begin with Chairman Willie. Chairman Willie?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. At 3 o'clock today, your committee will have work on the budget up and down, mark up and mark down on the budget at 3 o'clock today in the hearing room. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Chairman will take note. Members of HEXAF committee, you have mark up, mark down at 3 o'clock today. Okay, Chairman Figueroa, you now have the floor.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to, on your behalf, ask members of your committee on Ways and Means to meet immediately after this morning's session.
Okay, there you
To
have it.
review the budget, the supplemental budget that we passed.
Chairman of committees or members of Ways and Means, you have a meeting with Chairman for the supplemental budget, which is passed on first reading. Okay, Chairman Ned?
Thank you, Speaker. Your Committee on R&D will have its budget hearing tomorrow at 1 o'clock with insurance and banking boards.
Okay, there you have it. Members, R&D committee, you have a meeting at 1 o'clock tomorrow with those entities. Chairman Berman.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Glad to say that your Committee on Health and Social Affairs have completed their budget, markdown and markup done yesterday. Hopefully we'll get our standing committee report either this week or early next week. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Chairman Berman, and congratulations to your committee for your artwork. Okay, Chairman Romulo.
Thank you. Your committee on JANGO has completed its budget, and your committee also have an oversight hearing tomorrow at 8:30 with immigration.
Thank you, Chairman Romulo, and congratulations on your committee's finishing up your portion of your budget. Okay, Chairman Coleman.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Your Special Committee on Climate Change and Environment is pleased to report that it's ready to its markup and markdown tomorrow at 4 p.m. after Ways and Means. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Chairman Coleman. Finish up your report. Chairman Orisimo.
People who would come for that hearing at 1 o'clock or right after the Ways and Means meeting will come with information and not looking around among themselves who would, what I took to mean, who would just say something so we think that they were telling us the truth. So after the Ways and Means meeting today, after the session, one education on the budget. And we hope that by early next week, we would have a report for this Congress to consider. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman Rosimon. Some progress. You've been vacationing too much for the past sessions. So thank you for the report that you're progressing. Okay, Vice Speaker Moses, you have any announcement? Okay, Vice Chairman Balik. Vice Chairman Aridos. Okay, I just want to make an announcement on our journals. You know, the journals will be coming out in hard copies and on our what do you call that, Chief Clerk? On our server, on the server. So access and review your statements. Sometimes you will review your statements, you will be surprised what you said. So maybe it's correct or not correct. So we are already moving ahead with our journals, thanks to our journal clerk and the proofreaders. They're doing a wonderful job. So look through your statements. Those will be there for eternity. So it's your statement. So look at them carefully. You don't want to be quoted wrongly from our future generations. Okay. Thank
So,
you for that.
Speaker, you're
Yes.
saying that we need to correct all our statements and then give it back to the journalists?
Exactly. So if you get copies, if you don't, they are on our servers. So just ask them how you can access it. And
Okay, I thought
review
they were
your
only giving
statements.
them out for our copies.
There are some funny statements you gentlemen have been making, and I kind of laugh at them. But they're now in the records forever. Okay.
Can you
So-
put in things that you don't say on the floor?
Yes, everything. Everything is in there. So be careful also what you say.
No, what I mean is, can you amend by adding what you don't say?
Shortage is subject to call of the chair. Congress is back in session. We're still in announcement. If there is no further announcement from members, Floor Leader, your announcement and then your motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have no announcement, but before I make my usual motion, I just want to say that I really feel disturbed and awkward in continuing using the word recess when I know that the use and application of it is inappropriate and incorrect. So I would hope that the Committee on JGO will look at our amending resolution to our rules so they can report in and correct all those that we wanted to correct during our last workshop. And now I move that we stand in recess and come back at 10 a.m. tomorrow.
It's been moved and seconded that Congress stand in recess until tomorrow at 10 in the morning. Those in favor say yes, opposed no. Motion carried. Congress now stands in recess until tomorrow at 10 in the morning.